Amber Heard was cross-examined for the first time yesterday, and a shocking secret was finally exposed that could land Amber Heard in jail for perjury. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into all the juicy details. While being cross-examined about her $3.5 million ACLU pledge, Heard was finally forced to admit that she did not donate anywhere close to the amount that she pledged she was going to years ago, and now she could be in trouble for lying under oath. After the couple divorced in 2016, Heard said that she would split the $7 million divorce settlement between the Children's Hospital LA and the American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, which would be about $3.5 million to each. At the time, she said she didn't want the money, rather she just wanted justice for Johnny's horrible actions towards her. But now that she's admitted to lying, legal experts claim she is in trouble. During her testimony, she stated that she has not donated the money yet because, quote, Johnny sued me for $50 million in March of 2019. However, Depp's lawyer Camille Vasquez argued that Heard had the money for months before the lawsuit, yet failed to donate the money as she promised. To make matters worse, during the UK libel trial, Amber Heard gave completely different testimony and did not admit to donating the money. Sean Caulfield, partner at law firm Hodge, Jones & Allen, told Mail Online today that Heard could face a perjury probe in the UK as misleading a court, quote, cuts to the core of our justice system. He also added police could in fact investigate these claims, continuing, quote, while it may not be a central issue to the case, the donations, perjury is the single biggest threat and cuts to the core of our justice system, so the police may be invited to investigate to show that any member of the public who lies to the court can be prosecuted for perjury. Clearly, in the grand scheme, this lie does little to answer the question of if Johnny Depp ever got physical with Amber, but it clearly helps Depp's side argue that she is a documented liar, and if she lied about the donations, she could lie about a lot more. Legal expert Mark Stevens also said police could blame the lie on not understanding the question asked rather than deliberately not telling the truth, saying, quote, it's notoriously difficult to bring and prosecute a perjury case. You have to show that someone deliberately told an untruth as opposed to them being confused or misremembering. I think it would be a very difficult thing to do. The mention of donating her divorce settlement first came up when Heard appeared on Dutch talk show RTL Late Night in 2018, where she said, quote, $7 million in total was donated. I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of LA. I wanted nothing. At the time, she made it clear that she had already donated this divorce money. However, ACLU Chief Operating Officer and General Counsel Terrence Dougherty testified earlier in the case that only $1.3 million has either been donated by Heard or on her behalf, with most of it coming from other sources like Elon Musk. Of that money, Heard contributed $350,000 directly in December of 2018, and she's not paid off any more since. A further $100,000 was paid by Depp, and another $350,000 came from a fund at Fidelity, an investment company assumed to be Elon Musk. Depp's team is stating that Heard is a blatant liar who used the claim of donation to gain sympathy from the public. However, Heard has fired back that she intends to donate the money once Johnny Depp stops suing her. Heard is also no stranger to perjuring herself. She was investigated back in 2015 by the FBI for lying about illegally bringing her dogs into Australia. Heard avoided charges after she publicly apologized and blamed a lack of sleep on why she did not fill the required paperwork.
Amber Heard began her testimony during the defamation trial of Johnny Depp, and in doing so, a lot of people were speculating that she may have stolen some of her testimony from movie quotes. Olivia covered a full top 10 on this if you want to check that one out, just to see all of the different rumored examples, but today we're just going to be focusing on the story of it all. You see, Twitter is convinced that Amber Heard had quoted multiple movies during her testimony. In a Twitter thread posted on May 5th, 2022, the Twitter user claimed that Heard had stolen from film, television, and books for her defense. A Twitter user posted these screenshots of the comparison and said, if you were watching Amber Heard and felt like some of those lines felt strangely familiar, they are. She's stealing from film and TV and books. Here's a thread of what I've seen so far. And so far, the tweet has been retweeted more than 4,000 times and liked by over 14,000 people. Among the evidence she presented, the Twitter user claimed that the quote from the actress of Drinks Lots of Tea was stolen by Julia Roberts' character in Notting Hill. In another part of her testimony, she said that he'd rather cut off his hand, which she claimed was directly lifted from the drama series Mildred Pierce. Perhaps the one that took off the most, though, was the screenshot within the thread where the user claimed that Amber's opening monologue in her testimony is the plot of The Talented Mr. Ripley. In that post, another user claims, her entire beginning monologue is literally the plot of The Talented Mr. Ripley, actual quotes from the movie, and featured a character who showered gifts that mysteriously disappeared. They then go on to quote and say, the thing with Johnny, it's like the sun shines on you, and it's glorious, and then he forgets you and it's very, very cold. When you have his attention, you feel like you're the only person in the world. That's why everybody loves him so much. However, according to Snopes.com, who are infamous for debunking things, they are stating that this claim was shared without evidence. In the review, they stated, "The claim that Heard repeated these lines from the talented Mr. Ripley was presented on social media with no evidence. Those asserting it did not share a video of Heard making the alleged statement, nor did they link to any news articles containing this quote or a transcript from the trial that would substantiate the accusation. The former fact was especially suspicious since video of this trial was publicly available," adding, "Heard did not make an opening statement. The above displayed meme says that the quote came from Heard's opening statement, and this is an odd claim. However, in that it was Heard's lawyer, not Heard herself, who made an opening statement on her behalf." They also provided several video links and timestamps to Amber's time on the stand to back up this claim. She took to the stand on May 4th, but she didn't make any sort of opening statement. When she took the stand, she was asked some basic questions, mainly her name, age, and etc. But she did not provide an elaborate opening statement like these Twitter users are trying to suggest. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Amber, I'm just saying that if we want Depp to win this thing, we can't have it happen by way of false information. When you give into sharing misinformation, you are no better than how Amber defamed Johnny Depp, and as we all know, two wrongs don't make a right. Now that just leaves all of the other countless examples that people pulled up to try and sow doubt over Amber's testimony, but let me tell you something, you don't need to find movie quotes to sow doubt in her testimony. She's doing that all by herself. Again, according to Snopes, the allegedly stolen movie quotes are largely based on brief, cherry-picked moments in which Heard uses generic language that also happens to have turned up in movies. Look, we all want Johnny Depp to win this trial, so when we see things like this movie quote business, we all jump on it. However, you must remember that confirmation bias is very real. And if you don't know what that is, allow me to explain. Confirmation bias is the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. People display this bias when they select information that supports their views, ignoring contrary information, or when they interpret ambiguous evidence as supporting their existing attitudes. The effect is strongest for desired outcomes, for emotionally charged issues like this one, and for deeply entrenched beliefs. Confirmation bias cannot be eliminated entirely, but it can be managed, for example, by the way of education and training critical thinking skills.
If you've been following the trial between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, it's clear that the world hates Amber and is siding with Johnny. The press coverage against Amber has been very harsh, with media outlets quick to poke holes in her story wherever they can. It's been reported that Amber is so sick of all this bad press, she's deciding to fire her PR team. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into all the details. Amber Heard is set to testify in court this week. Last week was Depp's turn to testify, along with a handful of his witnesses. Ahead of the testimony, Amber is making sure her words are perceived positively and has decided to get new PR representation to help with this. Heard was using PR firm Precision Strategies, but decided to ditch them late last week. A source close to the situation noted, quote, "She doesn't like bad headlines." Another source said Heard is, quote, "frustrated with her story not being told effectively." Now Heard is being represented by PR firm Shane Communications to help her get across her side better in the court of public opinion. Obviously, the switch was caused by days of brutal testimony against her, along with social media sentiment getting worse and worse. Her new PR team, led by CEO David Shane, has worked against Depp before, making them potentially the best fit. In the past, the firm helped highlight allegations by Depp's former business managers, the management group, that claimed that Depp needed to hire a therapist to help him control his, quote, compulsive spending habits. At the time, he was allegedly spending $2 million a month on useless items. But even though this new firm is well equipped to handle the challenge, they're clearly facing an uphill battle, considering all the negativity that's already been published in the press. A communications source said, quote, "After years of narrative building, you can't change the public's opinion in 3 weeks when someone is suing you in a case." Ex-Pete Buttigieg campaign consultant Liz Smith said, quote, "It's crazy to change teams in the middle of a trial like this because you don't like the headlines." Apparently, Smith says that Heard's former PR firm, Precision Strategies, is one of the best in the business. However, even the best firms can't rewrite the history of what's already happened and what the public already believes about Amber, especially since the other side for Depp is so much more beloved. It's been reported that Amber Heard and her team never wanted cameras allowed in the courtroom, but Depp's team fought hard for the trial to be live streamed, and obviously they won that battle. It's clear that Depp chose this strategy to showcase all of Amber's lies to the public, so that regardless of what legally happens in this case, he will come out the winner in the court of public opinion, which has obviously been the case, and it will most likely remain the case once Amber is able to be cross-examined by Depp's lawyers. Johnny Depp is suing Amber Heard for $50 million, claiming she defamed him and his reputation when she falsely accused him of spousal battery in a Washington Post article. Depp told the jury that he brought the suit to clear his name. Heard is countersuing for $100 million, claiming that he is painting her as a liar and that's affecting her reputation. Lawyers claim that his denials are not credible because he was often too drunk or high to recall what happened.
Amber Heard took to the stand the other day to begin her testimony as her ex-husband Johnny Depp sues her for defamation in Fairfax, Virginia. During this testimony, she recounted a story that once made headlines back in July of 2020. Amber claimed that Johnny Depp had dangled one of her dogs out of a moving car window while he was howling like an animal. She claimed that the incident took place in March of 2013 after Depp had consumed copious amounts of, let's call it white powder for lack of a better term that YouTube won't let me say. On top of that, she alleged that he had been consuming lots of hard liquor through the night as well and was repeatedly accusing her of infidelity. During her testimony, Ms. Heard said, "He grabs this teacup Yorkie and holds Boo out of the window of the moving car, and he's howling like an animal while holding the dog out of the window, and everyone in the car, I'll never forget it, everyone just froze. No one did anything." She then spoke about how when this was happening, they were on their way to a photo shoot that Depp was already late for. She also mentioned how people from the shoot were constantly texting her asking where he was, but when they arrived, everyone seemed to be faking a smile and pretending like they weren't bothered by his tardiness. She went on to testify that Depp had a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde dynamic where he would be sweet while he was sober and then launch into binges of snorting powder and drinking liquor, which would then make him more controlling and violent. Over time, Amber said that he became increasingly paranoid and would falsely accuse her of infidelity with her friends and former partner. The evening before the incident where he allegedly held Boo out of the window, he apparently also tried to burn a painting that one of Amber's former partners made for her. She went on to say, "He decided that the painting was an offense he could not forgive me for. It meant I was having an affair with my ex-partner, who I already split from." However, Depp failed to actually burn the painting. Amber goes on to explain, "He takes it down and tries to burn it with one of those Bic lighters, but he wasn't successful at it while he was drinking." And despite not being able to destroy the painting, Heard also alleged that he had continued to push her to discard the painting and admit to the affair. Getting into more detail about what happened to her dog Boo though, she said that the photo shoot was the next day after all the cheating allegations and the attempt to burn the painting. On their way to the photo shoot, Amber was in the car with Depp and other members of his team. Amber claimed that Depp was smoking with the windows rolled down and goes on to say, "He started howling out of the window and he grabbed their two small teacup Yorkies and held Boo, the slightly chunkier dog, out the window. I didn't want to react to cause him to drop the dog. It was just this eerie moment where he's howling and holding this animal outside the car window." She claimed that the members of Depp's team didn't even react to this, but she believed that they were also stressed out by his actions. She went on to say, "I have a memory of everyone just not really reacting to him. No one really did anything." And eventually Amber said that she gently pulled Johnny Depp's arm back into the vehicle as they arrived for the shoot, and at the time Heard testified that Boo did belong to Depp, but that she later got custody of both of their small Yorkies when they split up. In a desperate attempt to show that Johnny Depp had a previous history of being rougher with women in his life, Amber Heard accused Depp of once pushing Kate Moss down some stairs. During her bombshell testimony in the defamation trial, she alleged that the actor once pushed the British supermodel down some stairs. She made the claim during day 2 of her testimony in Fairfax, Virginia, as she detailed the slew of alleged fights that she and Depp had engaged in over the course of their relationship. Amber claimed that the only reason she hit Depp in the face for the first time during a fight that they had in 2015 was due to what previously happened to Kate Moss. During this fight, she said that they were at the top of a staircase in LA and her sister was present. She testified and said, "Whitney, my sister, all of a sudden put herself in between Johnny and I. She threw herself like in the line of fire. All of a sudden she was there and she was trying to get Johnny to stop. Her back was to the staircase and Johnny swings at her. I don't hesitate. I don't wait. I instantly think of Kate Moss and the stairs and I swung at him." She then went on to say, "In all of my relationship to date with Johnny, I hadn't landed a blow and I, for the first time, I hit him. Like actually hit him square in the face. He didn't push my sister down the stairs." For those of you who don't know, Kate Moss and Johnny Depp dated from 1994 to 1998, but Kate has never ever publicly accused Depp of being violent with her. This rumor also arose during Depp's 2020 libel trial against the publishers of the UK newspaper called The Sun. Amber claimed at the time, "I remembered information I had heard that he pushed a former girlfriend, I believe it was Kate Moss, down the stairs. I had heard this rumor from 2 people and it was fresh in my mind." However, Kate Moss nor any of her representatives have ever responded to these claims. And during that UK trial, Depp's lawyers also accused Amber of fabricating the Kate Moss rumor and then dropping it into her testimony at the last minute out of spite. According to Depp's legal team, Amber had never previously mentioned the claim, including in her deposition and witness statements ahead of the trial. So it seems as though she is acting like she suddenly recalled that incident in order to give, I guess, a reason for why she would hit Johnny Depp, as if protecting her sister was not enough of a reason, if that is even true. The trial for Depp vs. Heard will be on a break for this week, but when they return, that cross-examination by Johnny's legal team is going to be intense. They will have a full week to go over every claim that Amber made on the stand and actually formulate excellent questions to test her memory of the relationship. In the court of public opinion, though, Amber Heard has already been found guilty. Even if Johnny Depp does not win the defamation suit, he has already won over the internet, which means Amber Heard and her PR team will certainly have an uphill battle to salvage her reputation, especially if she continues to make bogus claims about Johnny Depp and his past relationships, and certainly if she ends up losing this trial to Johnny Depp. After Amber Heard finished with her testimony the other day, there was a bizarre moment when everyone was leaving the courtroom. Amber appeared to actually flinch or recoil as she came somewhat close to Johnny Depp when leaving, even though there were a ton of people standing in between them. In fact, he wasn't very close at all, but because he walked somewhat in her direction, she flinched like a soccer player trying to draw a penalty. It was A1 acting, if you ask me. Perfectly timed given the weight of her harrowing testimony. The actress told the Virginia courthouse that her ex-husband had SA'd her with a liquor bottle, and then he threatened to end her life in March of 2015 while they were in Australia. As they were leaving, Depp, who as you know is partially blind in one eye, stood up and simply moved in the same direction as the Aquaman star, which is when Heard seemed to physically shudder and look terrified, even taking a step back as courtroom officials immediately turned towards Depp and put their hands up, as if to warn him to stay back or something. Johnny Depp then turned away and appeared to shrug and smile as if he had no idea why they were all in a huff. Amber was then led to the side of the room by the courtroom officials before Depp exited through the rear door for a cigarette during the 15-minute recess. For the most part, the former couple have avoided eye contact during this trial. During Amber's testimony, Depp was mostly looking down at a piece of paper or looking off to his legal team. Before this seemingly tense encounter, the actress had broken down in tears as she testified that Depp had attacked her in what Depp's legal team are calling the performance of her life. This same incident with the bottle that Amber spoke about was also the same time that Johnny's finger was severed, because according to Depp, Amber had thrown a liquor bottle at him, which ended up severing his finger. But Amber testified that she did not witness Depp's finger being cut off. While testifying and sobbing uncontrollably, she said, "At some point he's on top of me, screaming, 'I effing hate you, you ruined my effing life.' I'm on the countertop, he had me by the neck and was on top of me. I'm looking in his eyes and I don't see him anymore. It wasn't him, it was black. I haven't been so scared in my life. He was looking at me, I was trying to get through to him, to say in some way it was me, trying to get through to Johnny." She then added, "My head was bashing against the back of the bar and I couldn't breathe. I remember trying to get up to tell him he was really hurting me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get through to him. I couldn't get up." Amber then became overwhelmed with emotion and went on to say, "Next thing I remember, I was bent over backwards on the bar. I was staring at the blue light. My back was on the countertop. I thought he was punching me. I felt this pressure on my pubic bone and I could feel his arm moving. It looked like he was punching me. I could just feel this pressure." Adding, "I don't remember what I said. I just remember being really still, not wanting to move. I remember looking around the room, looking at all the broken bottles, broken glass, and I remember not wanting to move because I didn't know if it was broken. I didn't know if the bottle that he had inside me was broken." And according to Johnny Depp's team, they claim that the actress's tales of attacks by Depp have evolved with new and convenient details, and they plan on exposing her lies during their cross-examination.